Comic creators, your new crowdfunding launch sidekick is here. The comic book crowdfunding planner from ComixLaunch is your ultimate step-by-step companion to planning, optimizing, and executing your crowdfunding campaign, helping hardworking creators stay organized, execute with confidence, and maximize success on every launch.
Hey, I'm Tyler James, publisher of Comics Tribe and host of the ComixLaunch podcast,
which has been helping comic creators launch successful crowdfunding campaigns for nearly a decade. In that time, I've seen the same struggles come up again and again. Making a great comic, but no idea where to start with crowdfunding it, overwhelm at all the steps to launch, and fear of missing something important. Exhaustion during the campaign and struggling with the emotional roller coaster of launching.
and finishing the campaign and still being unsure what worked, what didn't, and how to get better results the next time. If any of those challenges sound familiar,
you are not alone, and it's not your fault. Crowdfunding a comic requires a completely different skill set than making one. The good news is I have something that can help. To celebrate the 10th anniversary of ComixLaunch, I've distilled years of my own crowdfunding experience and the insights of hundreds of amazing guests I've had on the show into one essential tool. This new comic book crowdfunding planner is really 4 powerful books in one, designed to help during every phase of your launch. First, it's a launch planner, providing a step-by-step roadmap including guided templates and battle-tested ComixLaunch exercises to build a winning campaign. Second, it's an execution checklist, including action items and pro tips for every aspect of your project so you can launch with confidence. Third, it's a daily campaign journal with dedicated pages to track your campaign progress each day of your launch, prioritize your daily promotional activities, and stay in command of your project. And fourth, it's a post-launch debrief with a proven post-mortem process to capture what worked, what didn't, and what you'll improve on so that your next launch is even better. The Comic Book Crowdfunding Planner is perfect for first-time Kickstarter creators who want a clear roadmap from start to funded.
When it comes to running a Kickstarter, I never thought I could do it until I started using Tyler's tools and tips and tricks.
I have raised over $40,000 US. Everything I have launched has been done using the ComixLaunch tools. It's been the backbone of my success as a creator.
Experienced crowdfunders who want to refine and optimize their launch processes and get to that next level of funding success.
I've raised over $30,000 on Kickstarter. I wouldn't have been able to accomplish this without ComixLaunch. Tyler's guides have made it an effortless and stress-free process.
Tailor-made specifically for comic book creators, writers, artists, and publishers looking to streamline their campaigns and optimize their crowdfunding efforts.
The ability to break down the daunting task of running a Kickstarter into small, well-defined, achievable tasks gave me the confidence to finally launch a campaign.
I really needed an instruction manual, and that is exactly what Tyler gave me.
Perfect for anyone who has struggled with crowdfunding overwhelm and could use a physical tool to help focus before, during, and after your launch.
The timing of finding Tyler and his work was perfect for me because I didn't know what I was doing.
What helped me was getting access to all of the tools that Tyler puts together.
6 campaigns raised about almost $27,000, and I can honestly say I wouldn't have had anywhere near the success without ComixLaunch.
The tools included in Tyler James' planner were essential to getting the ball rolling for me.
Everything I know about running Kickstarters I learned from ComixLaunch.
Finally, it's for all the thousands of ComixLaunch listeners who have been asking for a resource like this for nearly a decade. For rewards, the new planner is available in a number of formats. A beautiful physical planner with a durable faux leather cover, digital PDF version with ready-to-print pages, and discounted multi-pack bundles for creators and publishers with many project launches on the horizon. All backers will be thanked by name on the ComixLaunch podcast, and there's limited show sponsorship opportunities available. I'm also opening my schedule for a few one-on-one crowdfunding coaching and mentorship opportunities, and you can also get access to some of the ComixLaunch Pro courses during this campaign.
let's make your next launch the best one ever.
Back the Comic Book Crowdfunding Planner today, and I can't wait to see what you launch next.
Prepare to launch in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. This is the Comics Launch Daily Live Stream. I am Tyler James, and I'm excited to be hanging with you today. We're going to be doing a bunch of cool stuff as we've been doing all campaign long. I have a great guest hanging out backstage who will be joining me in just a bit once we get through the usual preamble here. But I'm excited to be once again streaming as a part of the launch of the new ComixLaunch crowdfunding planner. So a few things, just a little bit of housekeeping and the plan for today. We have been, let's see here, slideshow. So today we are going to once again go over just a little update on how the comic book crowdfunding planner launch has been going. I'm going to shout out and thank some backers. I'm going to deliver a daily launch lesson to all of you, and then we're going to transition that into my guest today, who is Cammry, who decided to join me, and this will be should be a fun conversation. You'll learn about a new Kickstarter project that's live on the platform right now, and yeah, we'll take it from there. But just for on the comic book crowdfunding planner front, we are continuing to add backers every day. Another solid day yesterday, as we are still in the first couple of days of the campaign, closing in on that 5-figure mark, which is really cool. It's great to know, 262 backers so far, a number of familiar friends and people that have been listening to Comics Launch since my very first episode, and a bunch of folks that names that I'm unfamiliar with, people from all over the world grabbing this. And it's really cool to think that with the help of this planner, that could be 260 plus new projects that launch over the next coming months. And I'm excited to see everybody take their own crowdfunding efforts to the next level. So if you are interested in a little bit of support for your next launch, you can just go over to comixlaunch.com/planner. Check out the new planner. We've got it in print. We've got it in digital. I've just been working with my planner, and I should have sometime next week pics of the actual prototype of the new planner, because I'm trying to get ahead of this game so we can go to print maybe even before this campaign is finished. Before I dive into thanking some backers and tip of the day, I did want to also just do a little breaking Kickstarter news that came out yesterday, and it's the fact that Kickstarter has actually just rolled out the pledge manager, their new pledge manager, to all backers. I was under the impression that they were going to be in beta for a while, and I'm actually was signed on to be a beta tester for this new thing with the planner launch. But it turns out, before I've even had a chance to kick the tires on it, they've had enough. They're confident enough in it to roll it out to all creators. So yeah, I mean, this has been one of the things that Kickstarter has been doing lately this year, is they've been building out new features, and they've been launching them and making them available to creators very quickly. So they have a webinar coming up, I think later this month or at the beginning of June, where they're going into depth on the new pledge manager, and they have some tutorial videos and things like that. And I'm also planning on doing a sort of featured review and walkthrough video for the planner experience as I attach it to this Comics Launch planner. So hopefully we'll all learn, and we'll see whether or not this pledge manager is good to roll and should be your preferred way to deliver your crowdfunding stuff to backers going forward. So I'm excited to see how that all pans out. All right, I wanted to give some shout outs to the next 20 backers. These are, again, still day one backers who came out bright and early to make our day one such an explosive launch day. Matt Summo, Craig Talifer. Craig's an awesome illustrator, member of the ComixLaunch Pro community from Canada. So shout out to Craig. James Powell, one of the top editors that I recommend creators work with, especially in the fiction space. If you know fantasy, if you know horror, James is your guy. John Davis, shout out to John, and Kevin Joseph. Kevin will actually be on Monday's broadcast. I'm looking forward to catching up with my friend Kevin, who is the creator of Tart. Thank you, Kevin, for backing this project and being one of the first people to join the ComixLaunch Pro program way back in the day. Kurt Stoskov, shout out Kurt, Johnny J. Flores, Jimmy Stamp, Daniel Jolly, KJ, Kenny Mesnard, another ComixLaunch Pro member. Shout out to Kenny, Alex Silveri, This Man, This Pete. I love the people that get creative with their Kickstarter names. John Kratke, another amazing creator. Luke Herbert, Jack Holder. Jack, I saw Jack last weekend at the CodCon convention. Jack is another Massachusetts area creator who is hits the con scene. George O'Connor, also another Mass Hall friend of mine from not a Mass Hall, the opposite of a Mass Hall. George is one of the nicest guys I know. But he is from Massachusetts. So shout out to George O'Connor. And thank you again for backing George and all of your support. George has actually been featured in some of the ComixLaunch planner testimonials. So I appreciate George for getting that out there. As is Greg Sovold. Greg, another talented creator. And Daniel Flores and Luke Boris round out this next 20. So again, 260 backers. It's going to take me a while to thank them all, but I promise to do that for every single person that went over to comixlaunch.com/planner and supported this project. I appreciate you all. Okay, it is time for the tip of the day for comic book creators, for crowdfunders, for folks that are launching projects and looking to level up. And that tip of the day is to remember to get out of your comfort zone when in the middle of a launch. The crowdfunding is a great opportunity for you to do the things that you are maybe a little bit scared to do, to take some chances, to experiment, and to go above and beyond even what you feel comfortable with. Because it's a chance to where you're going to be in the spotlight for a moment. The moment you launch is sort of your cue to step things up. And the truth is, if you want to make an impact, if you want to maximize what's possible for your launch, you kind of got to show up. You got to speak up. You got to get out there and do some things to make an impact. Visibility is what is going to fuel your project. If people don't know about your project, if people don't know about your campaign, they can't support it. Doesn't matter how good it is. And a lot of times it is up to us to be proactive about getting visible. We're not always going to get invited to go on podcasts to talk about our stuff, but a really good pitch might actually get us on there. There's the great Joseph Campbell storytelling technique and quote where he says, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." And this applies not just for putting our own characters through the ringer and making sure that they're taking risks and they're getting out of their comfort zone so that we follow them, but this applies to us as well. And a crowdfunding launch is the perfect opportunity to stretch yourself beyond what's just normal and comfortable, to put yourself out there and to actually lead so that you can attract a following. A lot of times people are like, all right, I don't have an audience. How do I get followers? How do I get fans? Well, fans and followers will only go towards someone that is proactively leading and putting stuff out there and taking chances and taking risks, saying things, doing things, showing up. And so I want to make sure that we see our Kickstarter campaigns as a time to do that. So much of life is about leaning in to and creating at-bat moments, right? If you think about, stepping up to the plate, to use a sports metaphor, but every time you step up to the plate, you could strike out or you could get a hit, but you won't make any impact whatsoever if you don't actually step up to the plate. And so I'm a fan of just, when you're in launch mode, this is the opportunity to call in those, to cash in those chips, to call in those favors, to reach out to folks that maybe it's been a while, or even people that you've never talked to. And I'm trying to remember that and make sure that I'm doing that myself. And so, an example, one example of getting outside of my comfort zone is just these daily live streams. This is a lot of live streams. I usually put out a show a week, but to be going most days this month, that's definitely a little bit outside of my comfort zone. I've also opened up the doors to have conversations with people that I don't necessarily know, or I'm just getting to know. And I've put out a wider invite for this, which is a little bit different. And it's adding some fun and some unpredictability to the conversations that I'm having and the people that I'm getting to meet. But it's also exciting, right? It's a little different. It is forcing me to level my game up a little bit. Another thing that I'm doing in just a bit after this is I'm actually at 1:30. I'll be jumping on and doing my first ever Substack Live. I've never jumped on the Substack Live platform. I'll be doing that on Russell Nolte's platform, which is quite big over on Substack. But who knows? Hopefully my tech works. I gotta figure that out. But this is the kind of thing that when you're in the midst of a launch, these are the time to do these sort of things. The old saying goes, growth only happens outside of your comfort zone. You see that if you're an athlete or you're trying to like strength train, you're never going to build muscle just doing that weight that's easier for you to lift. It's only by exerting yourself, by pushing past what your previous perceived limits are, that you actually do grow. And so this is the time to do that. Now, the ComixLaunch Planner is a tool that can help encourage you to get outside of that comfort zone. It has things like a media checklist so that you can, have some confidence in reaching out to ask for reviews or ask for interviews, or reach out to sites to do guest posts, and it encourages you with some prompts and some tips to do that and to get there. There's a lot of creators that I know doing things like live streams or podcast interviews. It's definitely a little uncomfortable. Talking on camera, talking to the world is a little bit uncomfortable, but there's some checklists and some things that will help. There's also just with the daily launch journal will help you stay consistent and post consistently and make sure that every single day of your campaign, you're taking at least a few actions, prioritized actions that are going to move your campaign forward. And so this is a planner that will hopefully help you make that ask, and then also capture all of the things that you did during your launch to get the result that I'm hoping is a very positive result for you, so that you're going to remember, hey, well, when it's the next time to launch, hey, I'm going to do these same things, and then maybe just go a little bit further, make a few more big asks, make a few more dream outreach to creators or platforms or things like that. You sort of, with every launch, you earn the right to go after bigger and better. And especially when you start establishing yourself as a track record as a creator that delivers on what they say they're going to do. And so in short, your launch really is the perfect excuse for you to step up, to show up, and to promote a project that you should be proud of. The world needs what you're making, and I hope you get outside of your comfort zone to deliver it to the world. Now, just as I'm going to transition this into bringing on my guest for today, I do also want to, again, extend that invite. anyone that is potentially feeling a little timid, but you're ready to get outside of your comfort zone, you've got a project that's live and you want another place to share it, I'm inviting you to come join me on my platform. Just go to comixlaunch.com/invite, secure yourself a spot on my calendar, and we will chat about your project and hopefully amplify it to many more creators and potential backers, and then we'll also learn from each other. So I'm looking forward to talking to lots of you over the course of the next couple of weeks. And that brings me to today's special guest. This is the first time that Cammry is appearing on the Comics Launch podcast. If you are unfamiliar with Cammry, well, that's going to end as of today. But let me bring Cammry on right here as I'm managing my StreamYard. All right. Sorry about that. Cammry, welcome to Comics Launch. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
No problem. Well, I'm excited to talk to you. I'm glad that, hey, you reached maybe outside of your comfort zone a little bit to just connect. But for those that are unfamiliar with Cammry, Cammry is a comic book artist and illustrator based in Washington State. Over the past 5 years, they've published books such as Black Market Heroine with Wannabe Press. So Russell Nolte, shout out to him. Death Nell with Bad Bug Media, Cat Trails on Webtoons, and has also been doing and active in the indie comic scene for a while. I'm excited to talk to you about the project that you have live right now on Kickstarter, which is heading into the home stretch. But what can you tell us about George Smith, Paranormal Investigator, and of the Pacific Northwest? Kickstarter,
An Academy. I know. I mean, the joke was that the title was so long. But yeah, no. So George Smith, he is just a normal everyday guy who him and his daughter move up to the Pacific Northwest, and they're trying to get comfortable in a new area. Something mysterious starts happening with his daughter. She starts talking to a strange creature or beast. And George is just trying to make a living, and he ends up meeting Hank, who is a retired forest ranger whose brother went missing a long time ago. And then suddenly his daughter goes missing, and they have to team up and face the Olympic National Park and cryptids and all kinds of mysterious beasts in order to find their loved ones. It's very hyper-local. It takes place here in Port Angeles, which is where I live. So it's kind of my love letter to the area. It's been in production for like 5 years now. I finally was like, I just have to make the story, draw it, and put it out there. So that's what this is.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. What's sort of the format for release? Is this like the entire story, or are you serializing?
It'll be serialized. This is the first 26 pages. I have the second book almost done. It's like halfway. But yeah, I figured I actually launched this last year, and I had an $8,000 goal, which I think was a little bit lofty for my first like comic book. But I had raised like $4,000 last year, so I thought, let me try again. I do a local Comic-Con here in Port Angeles with my friends Purity and Jess. It's called Squatchcon, and so I started I had a launch party and everything over at the con, and so I was trying to reinvigorate it and try and raise $4,000. Unfortunately, this year there was not quite as many people as there were last year attending, so there was a little bit less of like interactions that I could have in order to get this out there like I did last year. So
yeah, it's I think every year it seems like there's ebbs and flows in terms of the conventioning and things. I did a couple, like it's been a while, but I did 2 conventions over the past month. And it's It's always interesting to me, like how rusty I can get. I'm just like, wait a minute, how do I pitch these books again? And then how do we get people fired up for them? But so tell me, like, how did you get interested in cryptids and is there like are there like a lot of rumors or urban legends in your neck of the woods that you're trying to capture here?
Yeah. So I just have always had a fascination with the strange and the mysterious and the weird. And I also there's a lot of story just in general. Like, I'm fascinated with telling stories and what makes a story, and cryptids and the mysterious and the paranormal kind of catches your attention. So there are a lot of hyperlocal legends here. We have Lady of the Lake, which encapsulates a story about a woman who was murdered in 1945, and it said that she still haunts the lake to this day. And I actually had a gentleman by the name of Ryan Grulich who made a documentary about that here in Port Angeles. And he allowed me to screen his documentary in conjunction with my comic launch, which was awesome. And there's obviously Sasquatch, that's the big one. There's also the Thunderbird, which is a huge story to the native peoples here. And then we have like the two dragons of Salduck, which is also a big myth here. So a lot of like we also have like the tree octopus and the Dungenessy. So there's all kinds of fun things here.
Yeah. How did you get into creating comics?
Well, I have always been drawing comics for a very long time. I had a wonderful mother who got me into drawing at a young age, and I've always really liked to tell stories. So it just kind of segued into my adult life, and now I'm trying to do my best doing what I love. So yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky to have connections and people who have seen my talent and has helped me develop a community and a love and a passion for the indie comics scene. So
yeah, it sounds like there's a decent crew near you that can keep you fired up as you continue to tell stories and things like that. And what were some of your influences in terms of creators that work really resonated with you that has inspired you?
So I'd say, I mean, Hayao Miyazaki is the big one, but as far as like smaller creators, there's Corey Lewis, who lives over in Seattle, who I have a funny story about him, but we're friends now. I see him every so often at conventions. And Brian Lee O'Malley of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That one was a really big one when I was growing up. And then manga and anime were also just huge influences on me growing up. So yeah, and there's a whole bunch of other indie people that I've seen over the years that have just been super encouraging. And if I sat here and named them all, we would be here for a while.
Yeah. So one of the things that on the ComixLaunch podcast, like we've tried to encourage creators and the mindset to take into your various crowdfunding efforts and just your overall approach to your career and your platform is to also to understand that a crowdfunding campaign or a Kickstarter can be for the project that you want, and that it doesn't necessarily have to be like one thing. There's always like you had said, like, all right, well, you know, we're going for a big one, $8,000, and that might have been too much, but you also were able to just for one of your early launches turn Inktober into a successfully funded book. And I think doing things like that is really cool. You know, taking projects that or art that you've already done and just turning it into something that can then be amplified through a crowdfunding effort. How was that experience, and is that something that like you'd recommend other creators consider?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That one was definitely my very first ever foray into the Kickstarter scene. And it's so funny we're looking back on this because my art is so much different now from 2019. Yeah. But Yeah, I mean,
I'm curious because like I've always found that when I was doing a lot of art, it was like if I would draw something, I'd like it immediately, and then fast forward like 6 months to a year and I'd hate it. And then fast forward like 5 years and I'd be like, oh wow, I'm glad he kept going. There was some stuff, there was something there. It's a weird time thing, but I don't know. Like when you look back at your stuff from 2019, so 6 years ago already, like, you know, what comes to mind?
Well, I definitely had a much more exaggerated, like crazy kind of loose style. I did a lot less planning when I was drawing back then. I just kind of like took a line and then like ran with it. Now I do a little bit more planning in my artwork, so a lot of things look a little bit better and more well thought out in my opinion. So yeah, I've definitely come a long way, but it is nice to look back and be like, hey, I did come quite a long way. So
yeah, absolutely. But I you know, I'm always encouraging artists to do things like turn their sketches and things that they have created into projects. And I know Kickstarter does an annual zine, like one of their open calls is around zines. And I think in February of next year is when their next, either February or March is like their next zine open call. But definitely something to consider. And it seems like putting together, like creating a zine from sketches, from art challenges, from, you know, thematic things that you're just into is a great way to do a nice, you know, low stakes project. $500 goal for this one, and it funded, and you got it, you shipped it out, and I'm sure you probably had some extras for conventions or things.
Oh yeah, I had quite a bit left over for a while actually. Like a few years ago, I was just trying to give them away. I was like, take them, get them out of here. They're so old now.
Yeah,
but that was a lot of fun.
That happens. And then looks like you also did a Zodiac calendar project at the end of last year.
Yep. Yeah.
Where'd you like? What made you want to do that, and what was sort of your approach to this campaign?
I think it started with an Aries. My sister and I were talking about an idea for a story about like zodiac gods, like protecting their own like little cities full of people. And so I had done like one illustration of Aries, and then it kind of turned into a whole series. And by the end of the year, I was like, oh, I could turn this into a calendar. I think it'd be fun to turn it into a calendar. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just kind of for fun and just kind of put it together. And I had a lot of people who were interested in it. So, yeah, and I got it printed locally, which was really cool because I got to meet some of the local printers here. And now I have like a printing place, and they're super awesome. And they always have a little dog that greets me every time I'm there. So it's always nice. But yeah, I mean, I forget what the goal for this one was. I think it was,
Yeah, it looks like it was $800 and you raised $910. A big part of that looks like was adding a little sketch commission to go with the calendar, which definitely helped.
Yeah, and those were fun to do too.
Yeah, and for a project like this, where you know you were launching near the near the end of the year, being able to have a local printer meant you could turn it around relatively quickly. And and you mentioned on the page, like, you know, just getting it out as soon as you can and supporting local businesses. I think those are kind of things that you can lean into during your launch as well, to make people, you know, excited to support you, especially if you are building a following that is local and in your area.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in terms of crowdfunding and other things, like what are some areas that maybe you want to work on, or some things that you're trying to level up, either as a crowdfunder or as a creator?
Probably content creation in general. I have always struggled with that because I'm a typical comic book artist who just wants to sit in their room and not do anything else but draw. But I've had a lot of people suggest that I should make more videos on like TikTok or YouTube and a variety of things. And so that's definitely an area that I want to improve and figure out how to manage, because I think the biggest thing with that is trying to find time to actually make content to post. And I think that might have been one big thing for this campaign that was kind of difficult for me, because I was trying to find people to get me on their live streams and on their podcasts, but I think I only know like a few people personally who actually do live streams and podcasts. It was actually shout out to Katie Shaw, because she was the one who actually had all of these connections and commented on my Kickstarter and said, here are all these people that you should talk to. And so I'm grateful for Katie for that. So yeah.
It can be tough. It feels like, it would be nice if you could just do the work and that would take care of itself. But I think definitely found it's like somebody, if it's not you, it's got to be somebody who is putting it out there on in the world. Now, are you all traditional in terms of pen and paper, or are you do you work digitally at all, or do you?
I do both. I mean, George Smith is all digital. I mean, mostly for the sake of time, but I do enjoy doing traditional comics when I can. I actually prefer it, but the George Smith itself is all digitally drawn. So
yeah. I mean, I'm wondering like if there's a like digital artists that will stream just their work sessions, and that can then maybe it becomes easier to then turn that into other content that you can do, whether it be speed up drawings or other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely something that's worth exploring. And then, are you are you pursuing and web comics? What's your approach been to web comics thus far?
Well, I do Cat Trails, which is a Webtoons comic. Enrique and I have been working on that for 5 years, probably 5-6 years now. And I actually have George Smith up on Webtoons right now, just the first chapter. And then I also have another web comic that I just create for fun here and there. But I do plan on putting a little bit more out onto the Webtoons platform. So that's my next kind of stepping stone.
Yeah. And how do you like working in the sort of infinite scroll versus the more traditional? What have you found is like, are there certain tricks that you'll go to for one that maybe doesn't work as well on the other, or what have you learned?
Yeah, I mean the flow is really interesting. I've had some fun with it. I mean, there's like some like it's kind of an animated scroll. There's some things that you can do with it that's kind of fun, like gradients or like the little laddered panels. You can really tell a good story if you're scrolling through. So I've been playing with that a little bit. There's obviously a lot I still need to learn, but I'm excited to get into it. So
yeah, nice. In terms of putting together your campaign for George Smith, were there any in particular rewards that you want to call out that you're particularly excited about, or just things that you really hope people will take advantage of?
Well, this year I was doing a little bit something different. I was having some fun little like random sketch credits, which I've seen artists do before, where it's just like little sketches next to your name for the Kickstarter credits. I still have the sketch, the physical sketch commissioned here. And I have this Kickstarter exclusive sticker that's my silly little Dino Nuggies, George Smith Dino Nuggies, because it's kind of like the little caveat that I've added as a little symbol for my comic is the Dino Nuggies. So I mean, I at this point I kind of wish I had added maybe one more higher like tier worth. but I was trying to keep it simple because last year I had a whole bunch of different rewards.
Yeah.
And that just made costs go up because I had so many different things I was trying to offer. So this year I tried to slim it down just a little bit.
Yeah, and this is definitely something that, you know, the more you do Kickstarters, the more you can play around with, you know, what works and price points and things. Like there's sort of a marketing rule that I've always, or that I've heard, that's just basically like 20% of at every pledge level, or at every tier, 20% of your audience would be willing to spend 4 times as much is sort of like the thing. So when I scroll on your page and I see you have 10 backers at an $80 pledge level, that would suggest that there might be at least 2 of them that if you had something at 200 or 250, you might get a flyer. And so, you know, and there are some times where during a campaign that, you know, I'll put up some rewards that I don't necessarily think anyone might not grab, but it may actually make the reward tiers that are just, you know, set above it. Oh, well, that looks like still a really good deal. So definitely something to consider. And it's a lot easier when you can, you know, with just a couple of backers, get a big chunk of your goal done. Mm-hmm. So, nothing wrong with, as you head into your final 24 hours, posting up, you know, limited to 2 or something that might get you almost there. I would, you know, maybe it's something that you already have. Maybe it, what I might also craft potentially might be like, take your library of stuff that you have in the past, or put together like a super bundle of just like, you know, your past work signed, sketched in, and you know, throw it out there, because you've got,
that is a good idea.
You've got a decent chunk of backers. You're closing in on 100. And if you can get, I mean, like right now, statistically, you're still actually, you know, statistically, you're still likely to hit that funding goal. But you know, a couple surges to getting the closer that you can get towards your goal, the more that like gravity starts kicking in, and you can, and people are like, you know, they see how close you are, and it really starts to build some momentum. So
cross my fingers, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always nerve-wracking when you launch, but there's always lessons to be learned as well.
Absolutely, always.
Are there other projects or things that you're excited about going into the rest of the year?
Well, I've been kind of experimenting with short form zine comics. I've been doing like these little, I fold up a 8.5 by 11 little comic, and then I've been just doing little doodles. At first I have this little comic that was supposed to be a parody, like the new Nosferatu movie came out. Was it this last December? And my friend Per Berg, or Narwhal, he's also a comic book artist who lives here locally, and we get together and do comic stuff sometimes. Well, he was having a launch event for his Nosferatu adaptation, comic adaptation. And so I was like, oh, I'll just put together like a fun little stupid parody comic of Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And so now it's turned into this thing. I have five mini zines of Nosferatu. And so I'm kind of excited about that, because it's kind of a fun little silly, just whatever goes kind of comic. I don't have to think too hard about it, and it's just silly and ridiculous. So I'm thinking about putting that onto Webtoons, and perhaps posting it in other places, but I kind of wanted to get a backlog, a good solid backlog before I started posting them. So, I mean, that's one big thing I'm kind of excited about. I'm trying to work more on short form comics so I can get kind of a good body of work. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then, are you also still looking at like participating in anthology projects or other things like that where those come up? I noticed some of the companies that you work with have done some good anthology stuff. And is that something that is still a part of what you're hoping to do, just to build out your credits?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm always looking for opportunities like that. I do a lot of my focus is on, because I do a lot of freelance work, so I do have a bunch of other indie comics that I work on. There is one big project that I can't talk about quite yet that I'm very excited about, which is kind of a big thing. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this year takes me. I'm always open for little anthologies or zine festivals or stuff like that where I can put my stuff out there. So
nice. And for those maybe aspiring artists out there, but who have yet to actually complete something or get something out into the world, do you have any advice or a pro tip that or a word of encouragement?
Yeah, it's so funny because I've been asked this question now a few times on a few podcasts, and I'm always like, oh boy, giving advice. I'm just starting out in this industry, kind of. I'm still trying to figure my way out. But I suppose one of the ones that I always like absolutely think is important is, if you're an artist or a creator of any kind, time management is such a huge like skill set to learn. Because if if you're trying to make something and you're putting it off, or you're thinking, oh, I need to do that. I mean, even just like an hour a day, or like setting aside time to do certain things, it really makes a difference in the long run. So time management is a huge skill. I have a program I use called Motion that is like an AI assisted scheduler. So all you have to do is just type in your tasks, and it like auto schedules according to what your schedules are. So, I mean, that's just some like very technical advice. And then my abstract fun advice is to just be stubborn as all get out and just keep making your stuff. Don't give up. It's going to be really hard, but if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So
yeah, no, it's cool to hear, because I was going to ask about any tech tools or things that you recommend, but the Motion folks have hit my algorithm pretty aggressively, but I had not talked to anybody that was actually using it. But it's cool that you're finding that it's helping you stay on task and keeping all the balls in the air without dropping any.
Yeah, well, and yeah, I mean, beforehand I was like hand scheduling everything, like every day I'd like make lists, and it's always time consuming. So having a program that just does it for me saves me so much time. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, the project is on Kickstarter right now, and the 28 hours to go. Closing in on 100 backers, closing in on 3K. Need to raise 4K before time is up. I think you're going to do it, Cammry, but right. I'm rooting for you, and I appreciate you sharing some wisdom and some insight with the ComixLaunch audience, and I hope they'll check out your webcomics and your Kickstarter projects and everything else that you do.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been great to connect with you. I want to thank everyone that catches the replay or tunes in live here as well. Appreciate you for hanging out with us, and we can't wait to see what y'all launch next. I will be back again, not Monday, but I will be back on Tuesday for the next live stream, and we'll probably be tuning in and doing some things over the weekend as well, just here and there. But until then, if you want to join me, comixlaunch.com/invite. We'll see you there. Otherwise, hope you have an amazing Friday, amazing weekend. To all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. I've been given my marching orders. Clean the basement is what would make the mother that runs this household happy. And so I'll be doing that, and hope everybody else is taking care of the mothers in their lives as well. But thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the day, and we can't wait to see what you launch next. Take care, everybody. Take care, Cammry.
Yeah, you too, Taylor.
The ComixLaunch Planner is going to give you a roadmap so you can launch confidently, whether this is your first campaign or you've launched a bunch. Hey, I'm George O'Connor. I've kickstarted 10 projects raising over $50,000, and ComixLaunch is a big reason for my success. Tyler has studied Kickstarter for over a decade, and he's going to help you avoid pitfalls and give you the best insights to make sure that you and your project shine on the platform. He's also going to help you with the mental aspects so you can stay sharp and positive and professional throughout the entire launch. This planner is going to give you the tips and insights Tyler's created from over the years of studying the platform and helping hundreds of people launch their projects. As someone who's been with Tyler since the beginning of ComixLaunch and has absolutely benefited from his insights and trainings, I cannot recommend the ComixLaunch planner enough.
I've been using the tools from ComixLaunch since 2020 to run all these successful Kickstarter campaigns. When it comes to running a Kickstarter, I never thought I could do it until I started using Tyler's tools and tips and tricks. He really has this great way of putting everything together and making it so easy to tackle. So something big and challenging like a Kickstarter campaign becomes really easy to do when it's broken down into these steps. My name is Melissa J. Massey, purveyor of fine fantasy comics and tragic shenanigans. I would recommend this to anyone who wants to launch a book or a comic on Kickstarter. It really breaks down the process and helps you to position yourself well so that you can stand out and deliver a fantastic book to your audience. I mean, the results don't lie, and the pile's getting a little hard to hold, so check out the ComixLaunch Planner. It's going to be the best investment you make for yourself and for your creative business.
Before ComixLaunch, I struggled to raise $3,000 on my first campaign. And since joining ComixLaunch, I have raised more than $370,000 across more than 30 campaigns. That's a huge difference. It's quantifiable. Hey everybody, it's Clay Adams. I'm the writer of Blazing Blade of Frankenstein, Dream Quest, co-writer of Carmilla Unbound, Prodigal Son, and co-editor of the Nightmare Theater horror anthology. I wish I had this planner years ago. Tyler, what are you doing? Get on this. Start shipping these things out. Can we just skip the campaign? Let's go.